Once upon a time, in a beautiful kingdom, there was a girl named Cinderella. She lived in a small house with her kind-hearted father and her loving mother. Cinderella's family was very happy until one day when her mother became ill and passed away. Cinderella's father was heartbroken, but he knew he needed to find a mother for his daughter. So, he married a woman who had two daughters of her own. Cinderella now had a new family, but they weren't as kind as her real mother. Her stepmother was cruel, and her stepsisters were mean. After the sudden death of Cinderella's father, her stepmother is revealed. Cinderella was made to do all the chores in the house, from sweeping and cleaning to cooking and washing dishes. But through it all, she remained as gentle and kind as a little songbird. Cinderella had a lot of mouse and birds friends. One day, an invitation to a royal ball arrived in the kingdom. The king's son was having a grand party, and every young lady in the land was invited. Cinderella's stepsisters were overjoyed. They talked about dresses and shoes and how they would impress the prince. But they didn't even think of taking Cinderella with them. On the night of the ball, Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters left for the palace, leaving her behind. Cinderella sat down by the fireplace, tears in her eyes. That's when something magical happened. A shimmering light filled the room, and her fairy godmother appeared. With a wave of her wand, she transformed Cinderella's rags into the most beautiful gown she had ever seen, her old shoes into sparkling glass slippers, and even a pumpkin into a magnificent carriage. But her fairy godmother had a warning. The magic would only last until midnight. So, Cinderella climbed into her magical carriage and set off for the royal ball. As she arrived at the palace, everyone was astonished by her beauty. Cinderella danced with the prince, and they quickly became friends. She had the time of her life. However, as the clock on the wall struck midnight, Cinderella remembered her fairy godmother's words. She rushed out of the palace, leaving behind one of her glass slippers on the grand staircase. The prince wanted to find her, so he picked up the glass slipper. Cinderella made it home just in time before her beautiful dress turned back into rags, her carriage into a pumpkin, and her horses into mice. The next day, the prince went all over the kingdom to find the owner of the glass slipper. When he arrived at Cinderella's house, her stepsisters tried to fit into the tiny slipper, but it was too small. Cinderella tried it on, and it fit perfectly. The prince knew he had found his true love. He married Cinderella, and they lived happily ever after in the palace.